the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome, race fans, to round 4 of the 2020 Karts to Computers iRacing Series season. Today we are at the lovely Lanier dirt track here in, I'm honestly not sure what city this Lanier track is in, but that is definitely something I will strive to figure out before the end of tonight's broadcast. So yeah, we come in here, our first dirt race of the season, our first dirt oval, and our only dirt oval of the year. It'll be an interesting format tonight. It's not just going to be a traditional, practice qualifying race, qualifying and race you guys are used to seeing this year. But no, we're looking for a little bit of a different format going forward today. We kind of have a little bit of a tournament going, as you may have seen in our thumbnail. So yeah, so the plan today, if all goes according to plan, which I believe it is set up to, but well, you never know with iRacing sometimes, if any of you have ever tried to set up a session of your own. But essentially, before we go to our race recap from round 3 at Charlotte Roval, let me just kind of give you a quick run through of what's happening in the background. So we start with qualifying, like any other race for tonight's tournament, and the top 2 qualifiers from tonight's qualifier. Renee Hart and Michael Krobach at the moment, they would move on to tonight's feature race. So we have 2 feature races tonight. We have 2 heat races. So after qualifying, we have 2 drivers that'll move on to our feature. Then the rest of the field will be split into 2 groups based on their qualifying position. So odd numbers go in one heat, even numbers go in the other heat. And from there, we'll have our 2 heats, which should be relatively small, probably 6 or 7 drivers at most. But from there, the top 4 in those heats will move on to our main feature. And the remaining drivers from that specific heat will move on with the other drivers that don't make it to the feature to go in kind of our compensation race. Or there was a name there for it. But yeah, so kind of our backup feature for guys that don't make maybe not the real thing. So we have 2 features, and then points will go 1 to 10, because there'll be 10 drivers in our main feature, 1 to 10, and then anybody from the other race will go in order of their finishing position as well. So qualifying will be of extra importance today. Just a quick disclaimer for those of you here. I have had to reset a lot of my graphics stuff. So some of it, as you see, there's like double intervals there on our little timing tower. So not everything is going to be perfect, unfortunately. I will do my very best to fix what I can. Yeah, so hopefully we will have this all nice and figured out before we actually go green here. But yeah, as any of you guys who are used to kind of the style of how I do these intros, we are going to do a quick race recap for round 3 at Charlotte Roval last Saturday. So last Saturday, as I mentioned, we had our 3rd round of the Karts to Computers iRacing Series in the Skip Barber Series at the Roval. Now Mr. Logan Paxa, for I believe the 3rd time of the season, or sorry, the 2nd time at that point, had his pole as his first position on the grid there with Matt Clark, who he had gotten a great battle with at the very beginning of last week's race. But as we'll see momentarily for here, Mr. Paxa suffered a very similar fate to Matt Clark the week before, where back-to-back weeks our pole sitter involved in a battle that sent him off the track. Logan Paxa giving up some room there to Matt Clark on the very first lap, and well, he just drifted out a little bit too far to try to give Mac room, caught himself in the grass, and got himself involved in an incident early. Now we move on a little later in the race. As you see, everybody's kind of funneled out by now. Trying to tell what this clip is. Oh, this is just a pretty good showcase of just how quick Logan Paxa was trying to make up that ground. I mean, if you see on the timing tower, he was running 9th after that early incident. Well, one of the greatest double passes I've ever seen. Sends it down 3 wide underneath I believe that's a Rich Foligno and Brian Ellis, and then immediately makes the move, I believe, momentarily on Josh Gallagher a few laps later. So Logan Paxa was flying, but unfortunate incident here between Justin Lewick and Rich Foligno. Just a bit of a miscommunication exiting pit road for Mr. Lewick there, but that was a big crash. And then later we had Logan Paxa trying to chase down Gallagher, as I mentioned a second ago. Just a very clean pass again. Paxa just was on rails all day, just comeback kid, absolutely. Very similar to week 1 at the Indy 300. We'll see another one here by Pax as he makes the pass for second. That would end up being the pass for the win at the end of today's race, as you'll see in our in a later clip. Just going to kind of pull by Krobach on the inside and takes an aggressive bounce over the curbs, but Krobach without too much aggressive defense. And then as we see here, Paxa and Clark going to funnel out. So Matt Clark had a bit of maybe not an off-pit strategy, but he pitted just a little earlier than he would have liked to there. So Paxa at that point took the lead. And, well, from then on, Clark on the pit strategy later managed to get his lap back, or his position back. But yeah, you see Clark just drifted out there in corner 1. He'd done it a few times all day, and that was the first time that really caught him. So just an unfortunate incident for Clark for sure. And we see later, this is the final lap of the race. Clark just catches a tire on the inside of corner 2 and sends it around. That would be the end of his day, but he would still manage the top 5 positions. So after just a solid comeback story earlier in the race and a dominant second half, Logan Paxa would take his second race win of the year in round 3, back-to-back for round 2 and 3 for Mr. Paxa. And, well, you see our final positions there. Pretty dominating lead after that. Krobach and Crosby would round out the top 3. And Matt McKecker and Clark after that incident before, would round out your top 5. So very entertaining night race there at Charlotte Oval last week. And, well, as the sun drops on lovely Lanier Speedway in the dirt track format of its wonderful layout. Well, we will see qualifying come to an end momentarily. I believe this should be your final qualifying order. As I mentioned, I am having slight problems with the graphics today, so hopefully we will see our timing come back up here. Yeah, so apologies, ladies and gentlemen, if I am making any slight changes. Yeah, there we go. So there we go. We should have everything set up there. So a few minutes left in qualifying. So as I mentioned our format a moment ago, we do have qualifying coming to an end now. And if everything ends as it does at this specific moment, which I believe it should, because most drivers, they were given 10 laps in qualifying, but most of them were going to run it on their early laps anyway, as is the nature of dirt racing. So Renee Hart and Michael Krobach. It's hard to see in the graphic a little bit with the coloring, but yeah, so those two gentlemen will be your top 2 in qualifying tonight, meaning they both get an automatic bye to our feature race. And after that, it will be Logan Paxa leading Heat 1, so he'll be on pole for the second heat to determine, or for the first heat to determine drivers that go into our feature. And, man, it's really hard to read, but Jordan West will lead Heat 2, and if they manage to finish in the top 4, which starting on pole, you'd think they have the best chance to, well, they'll make it to tonight's feature race, and they will race for the official points for tonight's race in round 4 of the Karts Computers iRacing Series. Now, we do have a few special announcements to go over that I will do momentarily because qualifying is coming to an end and our race will begin. I'll have to go over our results. But moving forward after tonight's race. So normally, the way you guys are used to the season going so far with the schedule, race 5 would be on Saturday, and we would just have a traditional broadcast then. However, in exciting news, we are having our first kind of unofficial race of the season. We're having our All-Star race on Saturday at the same time. So there will still be a broadcast. It will be at the same time as it would have been. However, it will not be a traditional broadcast setup, and I will elaborate on that in a moment. But essentially, the prize for that race is, as I've talked about with some of the drivers, we don't have a final track picks out for the season for round 10, which is our double points race to decide our champion at the end of the year. But the winner of our All-Star race on Saturday, which I will give more details about momentarily, will get to pick the track and car we race at for the final race of the season. So pretty good prize if I do say so myself. Now, as we see our results disappear. So as I mentioned before, Renee Hart and Michael Krobach will be picked as your 2 drivers to advance to the final heat. So our battle box is going to be a little bit off until I fix it. So as I make little fixes to our graphics throughout the race, you see on the top left. So our 7 drivers in our first heat tonight will be Logan Pax starting in the first position. To his outside, Devin Crosby starting second. Logan Ferguson, a guy I know who has some dirt track experience for sure. Then Josh Gallagher starting in 4th. Jean Guerra will be starting in 5th position. Then Samuel McEachern, who is running 2nd, I believe, in our point standings right now. So that'll be the first time he's qualified that low for a race all season. And then Freddie Esposito will round out your first heat lineup. So looking there at the Mountain Dew car of Mr. Devin Crosby there. So we'll jump to the inside to look at our pole sitter for heat 1. But yeah, the first time he hasn't qualified first position, I think, well, maybe all season. I mean, Matt Clark qualified on pole for our second race of the year, but yeah, Paxa maybe not too used to not starting in the first position. So as we get ready to go green for heat 1, which will be a 30-lap race, I should mention I will get our time off of the information thing there up top. So as you see, 30 laps. I guess laps done under the pace car will count for that 30 lap total. But so cautions are on. I know we haven't had cautions on a few races in a row, but cautions will be on today. And additionally to that, there we go. It's a little bit better view. In addition to cautions, any caution laps in such short races like these will not count. So keep that in mind as we get ready to go green. Pax is going to take the green immediately, just gaps the field off the start as we go green here in our Heat 1 of the Round 4 of the Karts Computers iRacing Series. Well, we see already very different lines forming behind Pax. So you see the 89 car there. I believe that is Logan Ferguson. Then Jean Guerin, the 19 behind him. Devin Crosby already dropped back a little bit. Let's just throw it in rear chase. So very, very small dirt track as you see here, but well, 7 cars, that'll still get a little bit cramped as we see the start of our green flag session. So I mentioned before, our green lap session did reset, so we will not have those caution laps counting for our 30 lap total. So it'll be a quick race for sure. Wow, that's actually a cool graphic I didn't know I had. But actually, Samuel McEachern looks like he's already coming close to pit entrance. So maybe a little bit jumpy there for the graphic there. But you see Logan Ferguson, our experienced dirt track specialist of the entire series. Well, he may not have started on pole for this heat, but he is catching Paxa in a hurry and a little bit behind them. It seems to be a bit of a drop back to Devin Crosby there. He's already moved up to third again. Now, keep in mind, everybody, so normally where we'd be going for points and all you would want to focus on is that number 1 position. Well, today we aren't doing points, luckily, at least not for this heat as we go right now. But no. So instead of that, you're trying to decide your qualifying position for our feature race, which is the one worth points. And the top 4 will move into the feature race that will decide our winner of tonight's race, and the rest will go into probably a rather small, probably 5-man consolation feature race. That's the word I was looking for earlier, to decide positions 11 to 15. So we see in 7th position, somebody's come off the track. Doesn't appear to be a caution or anything, but Josh Gallagher is... Oh, he disappeared from the timing tower for a moment. Now he's come back. I'm trying to tell you that it's Samuel McEachern. He is in the pits. Gotta wonder what happened there. I mean, he almost came into pit road earlier, so gotta wonder if it was just his line or something. But unfortunately, because of replay controls, well, we're gonna have to wait to see what happens with him. And he has disappeared, so Samuel McEachern will bow out, and that means that the transfer spot will be moved between our final 2 drivers left below the cutoff, that being Josh Gallagher and Freddie Esposito. We'll jump back to their battle right now. So to make it easy on all of you watching, you see that teal and green wheeled car of Jean Guerra, who currently has the cutoff spot in the 4th position to go into the feature race. Well, he's got Josh Gallagher in the 96 and Freddie Esposito in the 13 right behind him, chasing him down. So definitely not what he wants to see in his rearview mirror if you're Mr. Jean Guerra. But yeah, I mean, Jean, unfortunately, from what I've seen in the points, he's had a rough year so far. Certainly not what he would have liked. But I mean, this could be the start of something for him if he's able to hold off these spots for the last 20 laps. He's already a third of the way through the race. He's just got to keep his spot now. But 2 guys very dedicated to getting that spot, try to move into our feature. I know a lot of guys don't want to be in such a small consolation feature. They want to go for the real win. So Esposito and Gallagher. Esposito's trying to jump down to the inside of him. He's going to take a very close inside line, whereas Gallagher's going to drop out to the outside a little bit. Gallagher in that 96 black and red car there as we follow along with him. Unfortunately, his paint scheme's kind of blipping in and out there. I know some guys' schemes may have just changed, actually. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't have my custom paints set up running there. So now Freddie Esposito will take the pass. He is that black, red, and beige car. But Jean Guerra and Gallagher come together. Gallagher is going to send Guerra around. That we will go check on because, yeah, it's not exactly the spot I would expect on a dirt track for 2 guys to get together. I guess Gallagher just got to the back bumper of Guerra. And yeah, moving up a little bit. Guerra just kind of overcorrected as well. So Gallagher gave him the final shunt to put him around. But yeah, just unfortunate news for sure for Jean Guerra. I know he was really fighting for that transfer spot hard, but I gotta tell, my timing tower appears to be a little bit off. We have a caution there, so looks like the Guerra incident will cause our first caution of the day. Now, take all those positions you see there on the timing tower with a grain of salt because they are currently wrong. I believe that should be correct once Pax takes the lead again. So the cars will form up to go to our first caution of today. So if I remember correctly, it'll be Paxa, Ferguson, Crosby, Esposito, then Gallagher fighting Esposito for that final cutoff spot. And Jean Guerra appears to have joined the track. He's running up to speed, so those will be your 6 drivers left on track. Of course, Samuel McEachern looks like he had either some car or some technical troubles at the start of tonight's race, but he will not be able to finish the race, it would appear, or at least he'd be too many laps behind to make a solid challenge for the win, or at least a top 4 spot. So, well, the narrative for both this heat and the second one will be that cutoff 4th place position, currently occupied by Freddie Esposito in the 13. We're going to go green again. Very short caution segment. Paxa will go 4th, so will Logan Ferguson, but Devin Crosby didn't get maybe as good of a jump as he would have liked. Devin Crosby in that teal car there, the 63 Mountain Dew Baja Blast car, being chased down by Freddie Esposito in that cutoff spot. So jump back a little bit. Josh Gallagher is going to be in that 5th car, trying to catch up to the 13 Esposito, getting to that final transfer spot. In our first heat, which I believe would qualify him, I believe he'd be 9th if he were able to make the pass here to start in our feature. But Josh Gallagher, a race winner in the Indy 300 to start our year. He was very first winner all season, but that was in a Delaire IR18 Indy car. It doesn't get much more different of an oval race than that, moving to Lanier here with the Dirt Street Stock Series. So definitely a different discipline than he's used to, at least in races in which he's won. So Gallagher may be a little out of his element here, but he is trying to catch Freddie Esposito for all he's worth, sliding it up top and catching the very edge of that dirt there. Jean Guerra sends it hard in, almost makes the pass on Gallagher, but no, that's fine. Yeah, so Gallagher is going to come around here and maybe make a bit of a different line change here, because I know the way Esposito's running, he doesn't seem to be giving up a ton of ground to Gallagher. So, in Gallagher's luck, he'll try to figure out a different line, hope it works. And, well, I know a lot of guys have an ideal line they'd like to be running here, but with the randomness of dirt and how much the track changes, you can see the dynamic way iRacing does its dirt races, where you see those, what are they called? Kind of the dirt lines forming up top and that big brown patch up top for the track. You'll see it there. So the darker color there, you see the treads running there. Actually, John Garham got involved in a bit of a one-man incident, and he got sent all the way back about 4 seconds behind. So really the transfer spot battle with 10 to go here comes between Esposito and Gallagher in our first heat of 2. But yeah, as I was talking about iRacing's dynamic way they do dirt setups. So, he's going to go way wide. Freddie Esposito gets stuck on the high dirt. Gallagher tries to jump underneath. Doesn't look like he's going to. We'll try it again, do the slide job here. Can he get the back nose in front of him? Gallagher almost comes in front. Yes, he does. So Gallagher will take the 4th position from Esposito. Now Esposito fighting back for his transfer spot in the 4th position to go to our feature. He might get it here. Gallagher's going to slide up a little bit too far. He's going to push him to the wall, but he's going to stay up off it. So Gallagher, he's going to get caught in the back end. Esposito gives him a little bit of a tap, and well, you see 2 distinct lines there, ladies and gentlemen, as I was talking about before. Esposito takes big contact with the wall. Doesn't seem to have too much damage, and damage doesn't really matter in the Dirt Street Stock Series, but that's going to kind of hurt his race pace here a little bit as he drops back behind Gallagher once again. But as I keep trying to say with this fascinating battle in the background, there's 2 main lines guys are going to run here. So you see all the tire treads on the very bottom near the wall, and then up very top near the high wall, so both walls really, are going to be the 2 most ideal racing lines. Now, not a lot of guys drive in that big brown hulk of dirt that's been formed up there on the top. Basically, the reasoning for that being, well, if you run on the bottom, you're shooting up all the dirt, as anybody's maybe used like a weed whacker or something like that, where you shoot up all the results, or like a snowblower, where you're shooting up what you're moving somewhere else. And in this case, with the dirt race, well, you're shooting it up into that high wall, kind of that high creased area with the big dirt mound up top. So driving over that is just hell for these drivers, as it takes all the grip off your tires when you're trying to turn consistently. And well, the number one thing you want to avoid is trying to get stuck in that. So there's 2 main lines here, and if you're able to commit to it up top late in a race, well, once that dirt gets too bad, it almost becomes more ideal to run that very high line near the wall. And some of the most skilled guys I know in their personal experiences will do that. They'll run, well, the so-called Larson line right up there near the top wall. So let's check Logan Pax to see what he's doing. He's running a little bit higher than most guys, maybe trying to move that that dirt barrier up a little bit. So gotta wonder what his plans are, at least for this first heat. I know the setup of each heat race will change, so the track conditions will reset for each of our races. So anything Paxa does here won't, unfortunately for him, carry over to the feature. But that feature looks like it's a guarantee for Paxa at this point as he comes across the line next time by. It'll be 2 laps to go for him, but let's check back in our battle for the transfer spot. Josh Gallagher in 4th, and he's starting to break away from Freddie Esposito as he makes a little bit of wall contact. But yeah, Freddie just took a little bit too much of a lick off the outside wall there in his battle with Gallagher, and that seems to have done him in here, as he'll fall all the way back to 5th position, which will be out of a transfer spot. But where he's starting, he would start first in our consolation feature race. So, you know, silver linings for Mr. Esposito. But, well, that's good news for Josh Gallagher as we come to, I believe, the final lap of the race. Yes, indeed. So let's jump on board with Logan Paxas. Yeah, here he goes. He comes across the line for, well, his first win of the day in Heat 1. He will start in 3rd for tonight's feature race. Coming in behind him then is Logan Ferguson with a pretty decent gap back to Paxa. Pretty good race for him overall. So Devin Crosby couldn't quite make the pass there for 2nd position, but, well, he's got a spot into our feature race. So in a way, what's the point? And then past that, Josh Gallagher will take your final transfer spot for the night. A former race winner. It's good to see him have success here. So, well, I would do a results screen, but the way our heats are set up, we don't really have the chance to do much else other than head straight on to our next heat. So in Heat 2, we have already decided 6 drivers in our final feature race of the day, but, well, it looks like now we will have our next 30-lap heat. It'll be Jordan West starting on pole in this one, the 68 car. I believe he's got a Cheetos livery, if I can tell. Yes, he does indeed. Pretty snazzy stuff there. Marco Felice has the identical car to Mr. Freddie Esposito. I believe that's a throwback to Talladega Nights. I appreciate that very much. Then behind him, Rich Foligno in that Lightning McQueen 3rd position car. You can tell it very easily because of the eyeballs and the smile sitting on the front of its grill there. Then in that Red Bull car, in the number 5, we have Justin Luke, Arnel Tabang, starting in 5th with, maybe not a sponsor I'm going to say right now. And Marshall Crocker Sr., my father, will start in the all-black Bullet car there, the 55. So another, well, it'll be a 6-man heat this time. The graphic may show another M. Crocker, which is me, but as usual, when you see me on graphics, just disregard me until Saturday's race, where I will be participating in our All-Star race. But I will give more details about that once again a little bit later. So, well, you see Jordan West will get ready to start. We do have 2 warm-up laps here as opposed to usual where it's only 1. Such a short track, you know, if you're going to try to warm your tires up, well, which isn't really a thing at dirt, but, well, it's a good thing to try to do in theory is get yourself mentally prepared. But with, as you've seen, 15-second very short laps, it's not really a real thing to try to heat your tires up in 1 lap anyway. So they'll come across for our first warm-up lap, and next time by, the pace truck will take a hard left into pit road, and we will be started for our 2nd heat of the day. Mr. Jordan West, who, well, I thought originally there was a chance in qualifying you'd make it into our feature on pace, but I believe he got passed at the last second by Michael Krobach, who moved up into the feature. So Jordan West will get ready to go green here. Let's throw it to our wide camera. Here we go, getting ready to go here. Marco Felice on the outside. Felice with a great run. We saw a huge run by Paxson at the start of the last heat, but West didn't quite get the same jump as I'm sure he would have liked. So Marco Felice in the 17 car trying to chase him down. He's going to throw it in just a little bit higher here. And as you can see, that dirt wall has reset from the last race. So hopefully that'll mean we have a very similar race in terms of how clean it was and how competitive it was at the beginning. So all 6 drivers seem to be running in a pretty consistent line there. Nobody's starting to break away huge, but Jordan West is running pretty quick. Well, if I'm him, I mean, you don't really have to worry about position until you get down to 4th. And, well, he's plenty ahead of 4th right now, at least in terms of track position. In terms of time, not quite. But as you see there, our timing tower has been updated to show the gains of each driver in the race, so how far they've moved up or down based on their starting position in the heat. So Justin Lewick has already moved up to 3rd position ahead of Rich Foligno. Let's just jump back a little bit there for you. But those of you that just watched the race recap will remember Lewick and Foligno got into a little bit of a battle in the last week's race. And speaking of battles, Arnel Tabang will take a big shot off the side of Rich Foligno, just sent the front nose of his car in there and maybe threw Foligno's line off. As well, Foligno's blinking with internet problems now, but just kind of an unfortunate bump there for Foligno, who had the transfer spot a moment ago and was sent to the outside with a move like that. So we saw something very similar in our first heat, where just one tiny bump can completely mess up your racing line. And, well, at dirt tracks, if you're not really in a rhythm, then you're kind of in trouble, as we just saw a moment ago. Well, we see back there in the 55, Marshall Crocker, who's really starting to get his line together. He seems to be catching up lap after lap, or at least trying to maintain his pace compared to the other drivers. So if a huge incident goes down, he could very realistically be in this battle, but at the moment it looks like it'll be Arnel Tabang and Rich Foligno if we have a battle for that transfer spot. Although Justin Lewick, he may have made the pass for 3rd position at the start of this heat, but he is by no means breaking away, at least not very rapidly. So if Tabang is able to get himself a bit of a bit of a buffer back there to Rich Foligno in the 5th position. I'm sure he wouldn't mind that in the slightest. So pretty close racing between the 3rd and the 4th position. But we'll quickly jump up to 1st position. Jordan West in that Cheetos car. He's kind of maintained his gap back to Felice, but he is running away with this thing pretty quick. So somewhere to Paxton, maybe he's just trying to break away and then run as consistent as he can. That way he doesn't really have any doubt in his mind that he'll make it to our feature. I have kind of been downplaying the effect of just basic positions in this race, but as we see Arnel Tabang starting to catch up to Justin Lewick, positions do still matter in this race because it determines your qualifying position for our feature race of the night, which is worth the points in the series. So Arnel Tabang trying to send it down the inside of Justin Lewick. Justin's going to run real high, which should give Tabang the opportunity for the slide job, but Lewick will have the run off the corner. Tabang gets the back end around, but hits the front end of Lewick there with his back end of his car. So a very aggressive battle between these two. This could be what Rich Foligno and that Light McQueen car needs to catch up to the front two there. Well, the front two compared to him, I should say. Jordan West and Marco Felice kind of have a strong hold on this race as we go so far. So yeah, we'll do a quick through the field here. So Jordan West in the 1st position, maintaining the spot, should get that 4th place position into tonight's feature race. Then Marco Felice running in 2nd. After that, we have Arnel Tabang in 3rd with Justin Lewick right behind him. Tabang has moved up 2 spots from 5th, and Lewick has moved down 2. He's maintained a spot. Sorry, he did start 4th. Rich Foligno is the one that's moved down 2 spots, unfortunately, as kind of got 2 back-to-back shuffling out positions there. As he's going to go real wide, maybe trying to switch up his line a little bit, trying to catch up to the guys in front of him, but well, it doesn't appear to be working as Lewick is starting to break away here. Well, Tabang's breaking away from him as well. Arnel Tabang, maybe his qualifying lap didn't quite show us the full extent of what that guy can do, as he is starting to break away from Lewick, and well, he's not quite catching up to Felice as quickly as he'd need to get that 2nd position, but definitely not a bad effort at all. As we see Marshall Crocker coming up very close to the outside wall, he's trying to really do anything he can to get back in this battle for the transfer spot. If we check our time tower there, it seems like pretty consistent 2-second gap back there to Foligno from Lewick. So Justin Lewick, every passing lap, he gets a little bit more confident about his place in the feature. But after that, it's Foligno and a drop back there to Marshall Crocker, who shouldn't. Well, there's a possibility that West could come up on him before the end of this race. And if that is indeed the case, well, we'll see what Marshall's willing to do to give up that position there if he is fighting for a transfer spot if any incident were to happen. So as we've seen plenty of sportsmanlike moments here so far this season, but you can only be sportsmanlike for so long before it affects your race itself. So, well, as we see here, a pretty consistent, as I've been saying, battle between the front 4. Nobody really seems to be going anywhere. I'm just going to take a quick water break before the end of tonight's race, or tonight's 2nd of 2 heats. So we're going to go on board with Rich Foligno, give you a quick lap of the track here. I know I didn't do one in the intro, but yeah, so we'll head on board with Rich Foligno for a moment, and I will be back momentarily. Well, after a brief break, there we go, away from the race, it looks like Rich Foligno is starting to actually drop back to Justin Lewick in the 4th position. So I mentioned before, with each passing lap, it looks like we get closer and closer to our finish, but Marshall Crocker on the outside seems to have made contact with the outside wall, so appears to get out of the way. Got to wonder if he's got major damage, because, well, he's going to move over here. It looks like Rich Foligno going to let him by, but, well, maybe not the finish he would have liked for our heat, but he will. Oh, and he's going to get tapped there by Foligno, who, Unfortunately for Foligno, has kind of already seen his chances for today's heat go away, but we will have a caution, so this will be interesting as, well, maybe not for Marshall Crocker if he has damage, but he will have a quick repair, so he should bunch up behind the field depending on how long his pit stop takes. But the important thing to mention here is Justin Lewick, as we see here, currently tracking 4th again. There we go. But Rich Foligno, as he moves right up behind Mr. Justin Lewick to get back in that battle for 4th, so we won't have too many laps to go when they go back green. It'll be 7 to go off the start. And, well, the track this short, 7 laps can be 2 minutes if all the drivers run clean. So, yeah, it just depends on, well, how confident are guys that, especially if you're Lewick or Tabang, how confident are you that you can hold your position for only 2 minutes on such an unpredictable track? So, Rich Foligno just having some internet problems, so maybe we'll cut away from him for a moment. But, yeah, so Justin Lewick getting ready to maybe try to maintain his spot if he can. But you got to wonder how easy that'll be as we go green again. Tabang is going to head to the outside, but Rich Foligno, I don't know if he has damage or something, but didn't get the start I'm sure he would have liked. He is way back from Lewick in the 5, but Lewick trying to catch Tabang. Tabang on the inside. Lewick's going to slide up to the top, maybe get a good run here out of the corner. He will. Tabang is going to slide up right in front of Lewick. Lewick's going to do the crossover. Maybe he'll set up a move here. Well, it looks like from every passing lap that whenever anybody goes to the low side, they don't seem to pay for it when they dive to the bottom. I would have thought you'd get a way better run up top, right at the edge of that dirt barrier, but it doesn't appear to be the case. Yeah, he's going to try to send it in high again. I mean, that run, if he's trying it, will work if he's able to get right up behind Tabang, maybe shove him up the track like he did earlier. But if you're either gentleman with only 4 laps to go, I mean, you have a spot in the feature race, even if it's not the qualifying spot you'd like. In Luke's case, he'd start in the final 10th position in our feature, but I mean, is 2 positions really worth the chance that you wouldn't make it to that final race at all? I wouldn't say so. As we see, looks like Marshall Crocker won't make it out of the pits for tonight's race unless his quick repair is just a little bit longer than I would have expected. So, Tabang trying to pull away, and it looks like he will. I mean, he's running a very different line from our other 3 drivers in that top 4, but it doesn't seem to be costing him unless Luke is just kind of hanging back, which, you know, in a way wouldn't surprise me based on how our heat format works tonight. So, Jordan West, our leader of this heat, I haven't talked much about him, but really just because of how consistent he's been in that orange Cheetos 63 car, so 68 car, my bad. But, well, as he comes around this corner to our white flag lap, looks like Foligno's just a little bit too far behind Lewick to take his transfer spot from him, but Foligno has been really quick in this top 5 group for a guy that won't make it into our feature, so if I had to throw a name in a hat for a likely top finisher for our consolation race, it would be him. As we come to the white flag, here we go around the final corner. Jordan West, he'll cross the line momentarily, and he is your winner of Heat 2, and he will start on the outside of the 2nd row for our feature race. Coming in behind him, Marco Felice in the 17, Arnel Tabang in the 24, holding off Justin Lewick for 3rd position. Both the gentlemen will hold off Rich Foligno after that, and well, this is our feature, so I guess our consolation race will run in perpetuity? I'm not sure how that works, but this isn't quite the setup I would have imagined. To my understanding, the consolation race was supposed to come before the feature, and then our feature would round off our night, but, well, hopefully we have that all figured out momentarily. But Rene Hart, who we saw in qualifying with a very, very quick time, he will come in 1st position in that very patriotic Canadian car there. Then Michael Krobach on the outside. They will be your top 2 here in our front row. After that, Logan Paxa, Jordan West, our 2 winners from our Heat 1 and 2. Then Logan Ferguson with Marco Felice to his outside, coming in row 3. Arnel Tabang with Devin Crosby to his inside will be row 4. And then Justin Lewick and Josh Gallagher, our 2 final transfer spot recipients from the race before, will round out your race. So let me just check in terms of laps. So this is 75 laps, so I'll have to check momentarily if I get a break just to see what's happening with our consolation race. But as of right now, we will do 1 more warm-up lap, and then Rene Hart, our qualifying winner, will take the field to green. And, well, just one quick thing to mention that I didn't really think about. Both of our front row drivers, Rene Hart and Michael Krobach, they won't have racing practice here, at least not in such a competitive environment all day yet. So, yeah, you gotta wonder how they'll do here without any racing experience. As we go green, the pace truck takes the hard left, and Rene Hart, your qualifying winner from earlier will take the field to green at Lanier Motor Speedway. Coming around the first corner, Renee Hart seems to have gapped the field a little bit back to the two Logans in second and third. That's Ferguson in the 89 and Paxa, who was originally in second there in that 16. But Paxa is going to come together with Jordan West. West maybe has crashed out. He has. Huge flip from Jordan West. End over end over end. One of the biggest crashes I've ever seen. At least in a dirt race for sure. My goodness. Just on the inside, he gets tapped by Crosby. That wasn't what sent him around, though. He comes in here, and it looks like Paxa just clips him with the top. Clipped by Felice, and then huge contact with Arnel Tabang that sends him flipping over and over. That was an Elliott Sadler Daytona-looking crash there. That was huge. Well, that was a solid incident there for sure. So, moving forward, Renee Hart, as we come to our first caution of the race, very soon into our race. So we are not live currently, but very soon into our first race, as they'll form up behind the pace truck again, and we'll be in that first place position as we go forward. Now Logan Ferguson moved up 3 spots at the start there. I know he's our dirt specialist, but in the chaos of the start of that race, he moved up from 5th to 2nd, and he'll come in right behind Renee Hart. He got a great start last time, so I would be in no way surprised if you were able to make a pass for the lead here on Mr. Hart. But sorry again about the graphics, ladies and gentlemen. Just based on how small the track is, sometimes our timing system gets confused and guys will appear further ahead than they are. So until the pace truck goes left, don't take any position to be the truth. But we're going to see the pace truck take the hard left here, as Renee Hart will take us to our second green flag start of the day. He is on the loud pedal, and well, he's starting to get a pretty good jump there to Ferguson, but Ferguson, I take that back. Didn't seem to drift back too much as we thought we might have, but you'd think with being able to choose the start, the leader would have a little bit of an advantage there, but Ferguson's going to stay right behind Hart. Pax is going to make the pass, and Krobach, Tabang with some damage there. You see in the background, starts to fly way up the track, but Krobach, and I believe that's, yeah, Marco Felice in the 17 car. We're in a very aggressive battle there. Now Krobach is going to drop all the way back to 5th. Now he will battle with Devin Crosby for 6th place. Those were our final 2 podium finishers in our Roval race last week. Then behind them, Josh Gallagher and Justin Lewick, both of our final position finishers in our heats. They will move back, but it appears we have another caution. Must have missed that incident, but Lewick appears to still be going full speed. But I think it was it Arnel Tabang that was involved in that incident? I'm not sure what happened a moment ago, but yeah, it looks like Tabang and Lewick, who we saw having a very good battle at the end of Heat 2, they were running an aggressive battle the entire last lap before the incident. Tabang's going to drift to the outside here. Lewick gaps him pretty decently. I'm surprised that there was an incident at all. So Tabang with the slider and just slides in real aggressive on Lewick. Lewick's going to check up, and well, Tabang will hit the cone and then hit Lewick. Lewick, I got to wonder what the penalty for that would be, as he did just enter pit lane against his own will, which is really something nobody should ever aspire to do. So Renee Hart, we see our second quick caution of the race. Now remember, ladies and gentlemen, the caution laps don't count for our race total of 75, so you're not losing any racing here by these very, very quick caution laps, as again, they're like 20 seconds apiece, just based on how short the track is. So, well, I know this actually turned out a little bit quicker than I thought. I thought this series of races would go a little bit slower, but hopefully we do still have our consolation race. This is kind of a first time here for me, at least trying to host a heat race of this sort. So hopefully we get everything sorted out. But Renee Hart and Logan Ferguson will be on the loud pedal coming into corner 4. And, well, Ferguson's right on his back bumper this time. He isn't going to give up any room. Going to perform the slider there up to his back quarter panel. Doesn't seem to phase Hart, who keeps running his line just like he was before. And, well, Hart doesn't seem to be dropping back to him nearly as quick as he was before, as Ferguson's going to slide in behind him again. Actually, Logan Paxa, our points leader, and, well, a guy that has been absolutely dominant so far in any other discipline other than dirt. Well, he seems to be trying to make a push up there for the second position under the other Logan Ferguson. I know both Logans definitely have a big following in the YouTube chat, so this could be a battle they are very excited to watch. And Marco Felice is going to dive under there for 4th, maybe try to make a pass on Paxton, then Krobach behind him. The 2nd to 5th place battle, absolutely huge right now. We'll throw it in chopper view just to kind of show you how close those 2nd to 5th place position guys are. Michael Krobach there on the far right of your screen, the 72 car, and Logan Ferguson in the 89 car there on the left side. So between those 4, it's Paxa and Felice in the middle. Very close. I'll try to call it like this. I actually like this view. So Pax is going to come right up behind Ferguson there. Ferguson's going to slip out a little bit, but no, manages to collect his steering there. And Pax maybe will try a slider here as he goes to the outside, right up against that dirt barrier. He's actually going to enter it, so he may lose grip on corner exit. Yeah, Ferguson didn't seem to get too much of a jump there, though. Pax a way better corner entry this time. Marco Felice starting to get back into frame here. Maybe he'll be able to cut under Paxa if he's able to set up his next move right. So Ferguson remaining in second position isn't giving up any ground to Paxa, but Pax is going to slide way high. Maybe he'll get a good entrance in that way, but entrance into the corner, I should say. But he's going to go to the outside of Ferguson. Maybe Ferguson will slip up and he'll be able to make the move. Pax is going to dive underneath. If he's able to make the slider work, he will be in second position. Beautiful slider by Paxa. I mean, he won't have the same speed on the straightaway here Ferguson will have, but Ferguson had to check up to not hit Paxa, so Ferguson's going to dive under, has to correct hard not to get the back end of Paxa. So Logan Paxa will take your second position quite confidently. As we see in the background, we'll just switch back to our normal camera view, but we see in the background Rene Hart starting to get a very decent gap to the guys behind him. I mean, he's not involved with anybody, so he's just able to focus on his line and hit his marks. He would win his first race of the season. A guy that, well, man, he just hasn't quite had the season I know he would have liked, but he's been putting in plenty of practice, and he's a guy that I've said before outside of the race that he's able to get a track that he's really in sync with. He could definitely battle for a win this year, and it looks like this will indeed be the race that happens, or maybe not to make any guarantees, but it'll certainly be competitive as we see him starting to extend that 1.4 tenths lead. Slowly and surely, we have a caution here. We'll have to check back to see who that is between. I believe that is the 8th position of Marco Felice back there. Justin Lewick with huge smoke bellowing out of his car. He's going to head back to the pits, but we need to check on Mr. Lewick and see what that incident was. So Justin's second major incident of the race. Lewick sliding up there near the pit wall. He's going to go, you see Tabang in the background goes up near the wall, but it shouldn't have affected Lewick in any way. Lewick's just he's gonna go straight into the outside wall. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if he had like a network issue or a wheel disconnect or what, but that is the most bizarre off I've ever seen in a dirt track race. He just corrected and he just, wow, looks like he couldn't have been overcorrecting to the right. That was just way too far to ever conceivably be an intentional action. So Justin Lewick, he does have a quick repair that'll put him back on track and continue this race for him, but one of the wildest one-man crashes I've ever seen. So, well, it's lap 17 here of 75, so we still got plenty of feature race to go, but definitely a close battle there for second to fifth position. But Rene Hart, that was not by any means what he wanted to see. He was starting to get a pretty nice gap going behind him to Logan Paxa, so unfortunate luck there for Rene Hart, but good luck for anybody behind him who wants to come back up and battle for that first place position. So hard left from the pace truck. Rene Hart will get on the gas. We'll see if Paxa and Ferguson are able to make a push up to that first position very early in this green flag stint. Ferguson there, pretty beautiful slider on Paxa, but he's not going to quite get to his quarter panel, so nothing will come of that pass, at least for the moment. But Ferguson's going to go under again, just misses the back end of Lewick. Or not Lewick there, Logan Paxa. Logan Pax is starting to catch up to the back of Rene Hart, the very similar colored Canada car. Wasn't quite going to get him there, but Rene Hart's certainly not breaking away as quick as he did in our last segment. Pax is going to go all the way to the high side around him, maybe try to make the pass on the outside. He won't quite have the momentum to catch him, but Ferguson isn't going anywhere either. Let's maybe get a further back view for you just to get a better idea of the battle. But Logan Pax, they were starting to almost go 3 wide there on the exit. Pax is going to jump to the high side, falling in right behind Lewick. Not Lewick, sorry, Rene Hart. I keep seeing Justin Lewick on the timing tower and get confused, but Pax is trying to go all the way around Rene Hart. It's not going to work for the moment, but Pax is running quick. He already has 2 wins to his name this season and a pole for the race before that. Our points leader looks like he isn't trying to give up that lead anytime soon. Rene Hart still managing to defend, though. Pax is going to have to try something a little bit different if he wants to jump underneath. I know the ideal scenario for Rene Hart would just be to hug the inside line every time, not allow him to get a slider underneath you, as we saw most of our passes made earlier. We're using that same kind of slide job maneuver where you send it up the inside and slide up to force the guy outside to lose the position. It's almost what he's going to try here. Paxa's first inside move of the entire race. Rene Hart's got the momentum, though. He just got a better run off the corner. He'll have to jump all the way down, though, if he wants to defend. He will. Nice defense there by Rene Hart, but Let's jump back a moment. We see Logan Ferguson and that's Jordan West. Michael Krobach showing up as 4th on my timing screen, but he appears to have lost that position. I'm trying to tell. Jordan West is actually a lap down, so that explains the gap back to Krobach. Ferguson with a pretty solid gap behind him, but he needs to catch those top 2 of Paxa and Hart if he wants any chance at winning this thing anytime soon. But Pax is going to try to make another move again, maybe go for the slide job here. Hart's going to go way to the outside, so this could be Pax's chance. They're going to go side by side coming off corner exit. Rene Hart still on his outside. He needs to run the perfect corner of his life if he wants to maintain his position. Going to run side by side. Pax is going to catch him with the back end there. They're going to go side by side up near the wall. No penalties on right now, at least not for contact, so this is all legal, ladies and gentlemen, as is traditionally the style with dirt road races or dirt oval races of this type. We see Rene Hart trying to Logan Pax's strategy here, but Pax is going to start to break away again. I feel like I've seen this very similar scenario before. Right behind him, Ferguson, though, starting to catch from back there. And well, as we head into next time around, it will be lap 27. Paxa, your current race leader. I'm going to take another quick break, ladies and gentlemen, but maybe we'll head on board with Logan Ferguson, the guy that sitting right ahead of Jordan West in the 68, but if anybody's going to make a move up there for a top position momentarily, it'll be him. So I'll be back in a moment, ladies and gentlemen, and for now, you'll be on board with Logan Ferguson. Well, after a brief break from the action, it looks like I missed the perfect moment. Logan Ferguson getting caught up behind Jordan West in the 68 car, and well, West made a pass to get his position back, or at least his lap, from one of the top 3 drivers there, but he kind of sent Ferguson to the outside a little bit, and that messed up Ferguson's line, and well, he drops way back from Rene Hart and Logan Pax in the top 2 spots, and well, Mr. West kind of threw Mr. Ferguson to the wolves there as Michael Krobach and Devin Crosby starting to catch him quick in the 72 and 63 respectively. Right behind them, Josh Gallagher in that all-red 96 car, black and red, I should say. So that battle for third there is starting to intensify here. Maybe we'll try to bring our battle box up if, of course, it chooses to work, which is always a question mark for sure. But there we go. So we have our battle box for third position here. You see, yeah, just over 3/10 back there to Krobach. Krobach's moving up even closer this time. He may have a pass to be made momentarily if he's able to catch the back of Ferguson, but then Devin Crosby settling in behind Krobach there. Those 3 positions between 3rd and 5th are anybody's game right now. Krobach's going to jump to the inside. Ferguson's going to give him a little bit too much room. Tries the slider, catches the front nose. Krobach's got to correct or else he's going to go around. Perfect thing for Devin Crosby to see as he comes up behind him. Josh Gallagher, the same thing. So Krobach, even after his quick bit of contact with Ferguson, should, I believe, take... Oh, Ferguson catches his nose on the wall. Going to head back to 6th place. If he's able to hold the position from Josh Gallagher here, he'll maintain a top 5 spot, but he's kind of lost his rhythm here, so I wouldn't be surprised if Gallagher does make the pass in this corner, but that will mean that Michael Krobach will move up into your top 3. Devin Crosby, a good friend of his, sitting back there in 4th, and well, the 2 guys were your final podium finishers last week at Charlotte Roval, so they are used to battling for time every lap before. And as we come to the halfway point of tonight's feature race, well, that battle will indeed intensify. Logan Ferguson was able to get his position back from Josh Gallagher a little bit further back in the field, but let's check on Logan Paxa because he made the pass on Rene Hart a moment ago, our qualifying leader, and well, now he seems to be not quite breaking away, but certainly not letting Hart get back in the conversation for a win here right now. As well, Paxa with his 4th consecutive successful race, I'd say, of the week, or of the season, I should say. Our points leader, and he is leading our feature race at the moment, but knowing the style of racing we've had all day, whether it be through our heats or right now, I would not be in any way surprised if we were to see another Goshen come up here. So caution at this point would be very, very interesting for the drivers involved. So we see Paxa, Hart, Krobach, and Crosby, your top 4. Ferguson was in the battle for 5th a moment ago, but as you can see on our battle box, he has dropped pretty decently behind Devin Crosby in the 63 car. So Krobach and Crosby. Krobach trying to break away is, well, not really a draft here at Lanier Speedway. It's just kind of, well, run as consistently as you can and maybe try to follow in the lines of other guys, but certainly not actual aerodynamic advantage to drafting, which maybe couldn't have been said for a few other races we've run so far this year. So he's going to head into the outside here. Krobach and Crosby goes way to the outside. He's going to have to avoid the wall with a hard left correction there. And if you look in our battle box, I believe that should give time back to Crosby. This would be the best way to analyze different lines against each other here, is just checking the battle box every time they make a little bit of a different maneuver. Now they're running about the exact same line here. Crosby's going to get right up against that dirt barrier and following Krobach's footsteps. Actually, he's going to go way to the outside this time, maybe forming his own groove up top there. Let's see on the battle box how that affects our gap. It's actually tightened it up a little bit. Crosby now only 3/10 behind Krobach. He may try to go all the way around him if he's able to get the opportunity. As we see a caution flag here. I was talking about it a moment ago. That's the 5th place car of Logan Ferguson, who, I believe, if I'm not wrong, just got in a bit of an incident. No, it wasn't him. So check back a little further in the field. Jordan West, perhaps? I'm honestly not sure what caused that, but no, it wasn't him. Well, he made some contact with the outside wall, but didn't appear to send him around. I'm trying to tell who that would have been. Nobody seemed to. At this point, the caution trucks, the pace truck's already leaving. So I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honestly not sure what the cause of that was. As we'll head back live to tonight's race, but well, Logan Paxa, I feel like I've been in this exact same scenario before, kind of getting a sense of deja vu, but well, Logan Paxa will once again be your race leader here, as I think Jordan West was the one that was indeed involved in a crash a moment ago, but I just cannot find it in my my race feed, so kind of wondering what happened there. Our battle box will show all of our 6 drivers here, 6 drivers behind Paxa, that is, but less relevant when you're not actually green under a green flag. So the pace truck will take a hard left immediately. Again, Paxa is going to get a jump here, but Rene Hart, thanks to that caution, will be formed right up in behind Paxa. Hart's going to try a slider underneath. Going to switch to a different camera angle here, but yeah, Paxa is going to get a very good jump once again. Kind of a thing he's been known for all year, no matter what the discipline or the track. But Logan Ferguson a little bit back further in the field will try to make the pass once again for 4th on Devin Crosby, and well, Crosby will take that position back. Ferguson may have made contact, but Ferguson will go around. Josh Gallagher getting on the front of his quarter panel there. Arnell Tabang involved as well. Maybe do a quick rewind there just to check that, well, just what happened there between him and Logan Ferguson. So Logan Ferguson going around, you see him running way off the pace. We may need to backtrack even further than that just to see what happened to the poor guy. And well, he's running here, so he makes maybe a tap with Devin Crosby. Doesn't seem to send him around or anything, so he floats it in here. He brakes real hard to try to avoid sliding up, and he just sends it all the way around. Maybe just lost control of his car, and Tabang didn't make contact with anybody either, so one of the weirdest dirt oval cautions I've ever seen. Nobody really made contact. It was just a big checkup from Ferguson, sent him around, and kind of put the end to the rest of his race day, so Logan Paxa still under green, actually. A caution came up on my timing screen, but it would appear not. So Rene Hart still trying to battle down or battle back against Logan Paxa here. Paxa's going to go all the way to the wall in his strategy, whereas well, a few of the guys behind him seem to be sending it in just a little bit higher than he is. But I mean, again, I'm not going to question Paxa's strategy. He's starting to slowly break away from Rene Hart and make some headway here as he tries to push that just over 0.6 second gap a little bit further away, but he's gonna run a little bit higher this time. Rene Hart trying to go a little bit lower, maybe copy his line. So definitely the dynamics of the apexes and the corners and what line guys decide to take here at Lanier Motor Speedway is going to be a huge talking point for the rest of this race, because well, it's going to change drastically as our track conditions do start to change. And well, if those of you keen-eyed viewers remember at the beginning, our track conditions were nowhere near this at the start of the race. We had a much less defined outer groove there, but now the guys are starting to push dirt up to that top barrier. Well, nobody can run the high line in this current setup, or at least the way that they've decided to run this race. So it kind of turns out that, well, if you run on the inside, you're going to send a dirt wall up to the high line, which makes every high line much more difficult to run. But if you kind of run in the middle where they are, well, you send all the dirt up to the very top of the track, which kind of eliminates the Larson line, as it's known, that very top right up next to the wall strategy a lot of guys use. So that kind of takes away a big option for guys that maybe were practicing that way. And, well, it's great for guys that tend to drive further to the inside, as we saw Logan Ferguson tend to do a minute ago. But, well, unfortunate luck for Ferguson, it sent him back to 7th position, which still for points shouldn't be bad at all. I mean, a lot of guys in here, both him, Arnelta Bang, Renee Hart, absolutely. Just guys that have kind of had unfortunate championship results so far this year, not necessarily by a fault of their own, but maybe just getting involved in a lot of incidents. This could be a huge points day for them, and definitely what they want to see if they want a chance at getting back in this championship battle going forward. But if you talk about the championship battle, it kind of starts and ends with Logan Paxa here in the 16 car. He has just been dominant and solid no matter where we go. Doesn't seem to have a weakness at any particular track. But, well, Renee Hart is definitely the biggest competition, the closest competition I've seen him for a win all season. So Renee Hart, guy who I believe is running like 15th in the points, he missed a race in there somewhere and had technical difficulties in another. So, well, Renee has definitely got the dirt oval talent to push Paxa maybe into a mistake, or maybe cleanly take that first position from him. But this would be huge. Even a second place for Renee Hart would be absolutely crazy for the points. So, just a thing I do want to quickly mention as we kind of get into a lull in the action. Actually, Krobach and Crosby, that battle for third becomes the biggest battle on track, so we'll move back there momentarily for them. Actually, a very solid battle running up there. Josh Gallagher gets into the wall up top, which shouldn't matter because all the cars he's running with there, Josh Gallagher being that black, red, and white 96 car at the top of your screen, top left now, but he appears to just be running next to lap cars. But that 72 of Krobach and the 63 of Crosby are now your best on-track battle here. Marco Felice in the 17, just a moment back from them. Maybe we'll go and check the reverse cam on Michael Krobach to see just how close the guys behind him are. But I will just mention quickly, so our setup for our All-Star race I mentioned earlier on Saturday, as of right now, our plan is that the starting grid would be the inverse of our championship standings going into that race. So in this case, I believe so far in our point standings that I will put up after the race. I unfortunately forgot to put them up in our intro, but well, currently Arnelta Bang is our final points finisher based on just he missed a few races in there. He is our final registered points finisher in our standings at the moment, so he would start on pole for our All-Star race on Saturday that, as a reminder, will be fully broadcasted, but I will give more details about that momentarily. But that will be our deciding race for our track for round 10 of the series, where the winner gets to choose a track and a car of his or her choice. Well, his choice, unfortunately. No female drivers in the series, but yeah, so whoever is lucky enough to win that race will choose the track of their choosing, which could possibly just be a track they enjoy or a track they want to run this year or something they're particularly good at. If you're a championship contender who wants to give themselves the best chance they can in that final race. So Marco Felice is going to send it under there onto Crosby. Very aggressive move there by him. Let's throw it back to our more ideal camera here. But yeah, you see Felice and Crosby in the 17 and 63 respectively. Definitely starting to get a good battle going there. Felice going to slide up to the outside, maybe push Crosby into the wall a little bit. Crosby's going to go all the way to the top. Krobach goes way to the inside this time. Maybe he's trying to switch up his line, but Felice almost makes contact with the inside wall. He's going to lose all his momentum. Crosby will slide right by and maintain his fourth place position, but Felice isn't going quietly into the night. As well, he's going to try to catch up to Crosby with everything he's got as we come to 10 laps to go. Actually, 9 when they cross the lap the next time by. So this race coming to an end immediately as Felice is going to hit Crosby there. The two making big contact. Shouldn't affect either of the races, but Crosby might have a fire under him after that. Felice with a very aggressive move to take fourth place, and well, Crosby will try to do everything he can, I'm sure, to return the favor for fourth, but looks like Michael Krobach will kind of guarantee himself a third place spot if he's just able to hold that 1.5 gap with only 7 laps remaining in our race. Just going to check in on the Logan Paxton in the battle with Renee Hart with 8 laps to go. Renee Hart would have to have one of the greatest 8-lap, well, I guess again in this case 7-lap stints at a short dirt oval track that I've ever seen if he wants any hope of taking the win back from Paxa. Logan Pax would be his third straight race win in our series, and he would take an even more commanding lead at the points there. Definitely something that all those Logan Paxa fans in the chat would be happy to see, I'm sure. And even Logan Ferguson, who kind of had unlucky luck here in our feature race, he would still finish in 7th position, which for the sake of points isn't bad for him whatsoever. So the point standings will definitely be shaken up quite a bit by the end of this race. But Rene Hart is actually starting to slowly catch up a little bit. That 7/10 gap is coming down by about a 1/10 a lap in the last few, but only 5 to go here as we come to our last few laps of the race. Rene Hart is going to do anything he can to send it underneath there, but looks like that battle for 4th and 5th between Marco Felice and Devin Crosby has kind of cooled off. So the remainder of your top 5 besides Paxton and Hart has kind of been figured out, but Rene Hart gets another 10th on Paxton this time. This race might not be over, ladies and gentlemen. We could see our greatest finish of the year so far. He's going to slide it up real hard. Rene Hart is just kind of sending it now. Let's throw back to Mr. Hart. He's going to slide it in again. Maybe Rene Hart was waiting, just trying to get Paxa a little bit comfortable here as he mounts one of the greatest late race comebacks I've seen all season. It'll be as they get ready to come onto our backstretch, and then we come onto the front stretch again for 2 more laps. What a battle for the lead forming here. I thought Rene Hart was pretty much counted out, but that lap car, Logan Ferguson, will make this very interesting. 2 to go. Rene Hart going to slide it under again. Isn't going to quite work. He just doesn't seem to have the tire wear or the tire spin he needs in order to make that move under Paxa work. So he's going to drop back a little bit. Paxa's going to slide way up. Hart's going to have to bring the back end around. White flag, 1 to go. Paxa's just got to keep it off the wall and try to maintain that lead 1 more lap if he wants any chance at the win. But Logan Ferguson, the 89, he could add another factor to this in the last corner, but looks like I'm going to have to scramble, but it will not matter. Logan Paxa, for the 3rd straight race of the season, he will come across the line to win at Lanier Motor Speedway in our feature race of the night. Oh my goodness, what in the world are we watching? Oh my goodness, he has turned this into one of those fancy motorcycle dirt shows where they drive on the walls. That was incredible. He's going to pull off the... Wow. Well, we saw the 2 incredible celebrations here in our first 2 races that Logan Paxa won this season, that being race 2 and 3, but that was something special for sure. I completely got distracted there. Marco Felice, we'll have to rewind a little bit, but he appears to have taken 4th place position from Devin Crosby. He also did the same wall riding maneuver. I guess that's more common knowledge than I would have thought, but let's check back here. I mean, I don't remember him making the pass on Crosby very long ago, so maybe I'm just got a short-lived memory here, but the one thing that is apparent to me, it looks like we will not have a consolation race tonight unless it ran in perpetuity with the feature, but well, I am very confused, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, as to the result of tonight's race. I'll throw up our consolation race finishes. Yeah, it just doesn't... Maybe our consolation race coming up in a moment, but I can, with all confidence, show you our final positions for tonight's feature race. Let me just get all of our other graphics off the screen. There we go. Our feature race here. Let me just... sorry, one more change to make the background. There we go. So our feature race finishers here. A little bit smaller of a group than usual, but well, with our setup today, it was supposed to be a bigger field with the consolation race as well, but that doesn't work here. Oh, and our slide or our information headings are all off. Yeah, sorry again, ladies and gentlemen. Just a little bit of graphical oversight on my part. Some of the graphics just decided to reset. They weren't able to fix themselves in time, but no matter. We will look at tonight's points final finishes and our results. So your race winner for the 3rd time in a row, and well, he will extend his points lead this season. Logan Paxa with a very, very solid and very consistent final race today. He was able to defend very nicely from Rene Hart in the final few laps, and he will take his 3rd race win in a row. Rene Hart finishing behind him in that 7 car in the, well, just under a half second back there. Paxa, a very solid race by Rene Hart, and this will help him in the points immensely. Just a very solid race overall for him today, but he was your qualifying winner to put himself in the feature automatically, so he will gain bonus points for that. Speaking of drivers that got a free buy into the feature race, Michael Krobach with his 2nd straight podium of the season. He was 2nd last week. He'll be 3rd this week. Very solid finish for Krobach. Then to round out your top 5, it's Marco Felice and Devin Crosby, who finished 3rd last week. So 2nd straight top 5 for Crosby. Maybe it's it's 3 straight. I believe he did pretty well at our MX5 race as well. So if he was, I believe he was there. So Devin Crosby, yeah, just a very solid last few races for him. He's definitely making charge up the points if he has anything to say about it. But Josh Gallagher, former race winner, came very close to, if I remember correctly, winning his heat. So Josh Gallagher, a very solid day all around. He'll take 6th position. Logan Ferguson, a guy with a very solid following in the chat, the YouTube chat a little bit earlier, but well, definitely a very solid day for him as well. 7th position. I mean, I'm sure again he's not going to pass up with that, especially because he's a little bit lower in our point standings because he happened to miss week 1. Then after that, to round out our finishes, Jordan West will be a lap down as registered on our score sheet, but he will still take 8th position, which, you get in the feature, you get pretty good points. So I'm sure, again, West will be happy with that. Another guy that will be happy with his points today, even if it wasn't a great feature race finish, Arnel Tabang will come from last in our registered points, probably all the way up to maybe 11th or 12th with a position like that. And Justin Luke, who, unfortunately with an incident very early in our feature race today, was unable to finish, but overall, a very solid race for all of our top 10. So, unfortunately, it looks like I don't know what happened, but our consolation race unfortunately won't happen tonight. Gotta wonder what happened there with iRacing. I'll have to figure all that out after the race. But for the time being, let me just check our interview booth. We do have everybody here, so just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, and we will get our interview set up for 3rd place, Michael Krobach. Let me just pull our results down there. Oh, and his name has now disappeared. There we go. Okay, so we will pull Michael into the booth, and we'll be all set in just a second.
The Xfinity car at Darlington.
Oh. That's right. Hey, Michael, it's Marshall in the booth. You got me? Oh, hey, sorry, Michael, it's Marshall in the booth. You got me?
Marshall, how are you?
I'm not too bad. Not too bad at all. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Pretty surprised to be here, actually.
I know you were talking about this. This wasn't something you were really experienced with. At least the dirt oval setup with all. You were talking about how many races did you say it was that you've done on dirt oval before tonight?
8 and 12 years.
8 and 12 years. Well, you've made it 9. And is this your first podium in a dirt oval race?
It might be. I think we've had good luck in finishing with 0x every race, but I'm not sure if we've gotten a podium before. But first podium in a broadcast race. That's
well, and an impressive race it was. I mean, unfortunately, we had a few technical difficulties on the setup side of our tournament tonight. Unfortunately, our consolation race, I don't know what happened with that, but that'll have to be figured out afterwards. But in terms of the feature race, I mean, you had a few very good battles for that 3rd position. You weren't going to be given it easily. I know Renee Hart and Logan Paxa kind of broke away up front and battled it out for the lead there, but well, I mentioned a lot at the beginning of tonight's race about how big of a deal kind of the dirt track setup was and how iRacing's dynamic dirt modeling system works. Did you notice a lot of change between your line from one lap to another, at least at the start of the race versus the end, thanks to how iRacing does dirt oval racing?
Oh yeah, the track evolved like 360 degrees. It went one way, came back, went another way again. It was wild. I didn't expect to be starting second, first of all, making it out of qualifying and without having to race the heat races. That was just pure good luck lap. I have no idea. But nice to start up front, and I still got to figure out the gearbox on this thing because we got it stuck in neutral on a couple of the restarts, and we lost a ton of track position. So coming to battle up again and be in contention for a podium was great. But yeah, to answer your question, the track had a lot of grip on the bottom. It was pretty tacky on the bottom, and then as the run went on, there was the big patch of loose stuff on the top, so that was totally out of the question in running. And the middle groove got super slick, and all the rubber started to widen out as the race went on. And there was like a little, maybe half a car width patch between the rubbered up dirt and all the loose stuff, and that's where you wanted to get your right rear and hook it. And that felt pretty stable. It didn't feel loose. I felt I could keep my momentum up off the corner there. And then I saw Marco come back. He spun in front of me. He got a little bit loose, and I tapped him, and he had nowhere to go. So I hated for that. But he came battling up through the field, and he was flying, but he was right on the bottom. So I decided to change my line a little bit and try to take that away from him, make him find a different groove, kick up some dirt. And that lane was faster at the bottom there at the end. but it was really hard to keep the power down and keep the car under control. So I once he kind of fell back a little bit, I moved back up to the top where I felt it was a little bit safer and just putted on home to finish P3.
Well, you kind of wrapped the whole race up nicely there. I mean, yeah, you seem to just you weren't really involved in too many battles there at the end. I know you mentioned that Fleece had his nice run through the field there, and you and Devin were pretty close there for a while. Devin kind of sent it up underneath you there, but wasn't able to make the pass stick. Just kind of outline how does defense really work at dirt ovals in such tight battles there? Like, was there a specific line you knew was quicker? I mean, you talked about how quick the low line was, but was there a specific defensive line you were running for the sake of trying to hold guys behind you, or what was the strategy there trying to maintain your third place position?
It seemed a lot like restrictor plate racing almost, mirror driving the whole time. So, just keeping your eyes up in the mirror, seeing where the guys behind you are running, and take that line away from them. Because it'll be really hard to pull off a slide job if you're in their groove, even if you're slower. I know I'm a rolling chicane sometimes, especially on dirt, but if I could just keep that lane from them, then that's kind of what I was doing there. So I saw Devin was fast on the top. I moved up to the top. I saw Marco was fast on the bottom. Moved down to the bottom. Just try to stop them from building that run off the corner and kick up a little bit of dirt and hold that track position. So all in all, it was a good night. And jumping back to the consolation race, I think we didn't have it because all the guys that were supposed to enter weren't in the server.
Oh, yeah, I was wondering what the situation was there. I know it was set up on my screen like it was supposed to happen, but yeah, I don't know what happened there. So unfortunately, those guys, I guess, will just have to score based on their finish in the heats. But well, as we move forward to our race on Saturday, I just let everybody know at the beginning of the broadcast some broad details on our All-Star race for Saturday. But seeing as it is Xfinity at Charlotte, the old Xfinity car that I know you have a little bit of practice on, how you feeling for our race on Saturday? And what do you think are some differences between the car and any we've run this year? You want to let the people at home know?
Yeah, I can't wait to run that. We have far more than 8 starts on that car. We've probably run hundreds, maybe close to 400 races in that car. We're leading the Grand National Series Xfinity points in another championship right now, so looking optimistic for that. I think the number 72 HPP simulation. I don't know if we can bring in a Ford or maybe a Chevy or a Toyota. We got everything back at the Live Pedal Motorsport shop. We'll figure that out later. But I think it's going to be a good tight race. That car has a lot of downforce, so it's not going to be loose. It's pretty tight off corner exit. Tire wear is going to be a big thing. So a lot of the races so far in our dirt race tonight, we had no tire wear. In the Skip Barber and the Mazda that we've raced so far, very minimal tire wear. Same with the Indy car. Xfinity car is going to chew the tires up. That right front tire is going to burn out. So the driver that'll win that race will be able to keep the tires under them, stay out of the carnage, and time their resets right in case they get flipped upside down and need to tow back to the pits.
Well, it sounds like it should be a pretty entertaining race overall, and for sure, I think it's a race that, based on how the car works and how Charlotte really runs as a track normally, I think it could be some pretty good battling and give some guys a chance to be able to pick that round 10 that, well, maybe don't have a win or a podium in the series yet. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to being able to run and race against you for the first time this year, Michael. But I think actually the first time ever that I've run against you in iRacing, so looking forward to it. But, well, yeah, as we look to tonight, congratulations on your third place position, and I will see you in our practice session momentarily.
Mitch, just got to give a shout out to all our sponsors here on the number 72. We got HPP Simulation, Spotlights came on board for the first time this year, Clipping That Apex, Thumbs Up Cancer Down, CJ Automotive, Fleximation Systems, Amazon by Adam Blattel, Host Venom, Ready to Frag, and Sim Racing Apps. Hope I got them all, and if I missed any, come follow Lead Pedal.
Sorry, I completely forgot to send it to you there, but do you have that all written down, or do you somehow remember all that? Because how can you possibly race at the end of your race go, well, I can remember these exact names in order? It's truly impressive, Michael. I think it says something about your driving ability as well, that you're able to keep that many things in the back of your head. So, well, props, and again, congrats on your third. And, well, I mean, you did your sponsors proud tonight, so good work, Michael.
Thanks, man.
Well, as we finish up our first interview of the night with third place Michael Krobach, we move up to second place Renee Hart, the first time I've interviewed him all year. So this will be an exciting interview for sure. Renee Hart already in the booth with us. Renee, first of all, congratulations on your second place position. How are you feeling about your finish tonight? Pretty good overall, I got to guess.
Oh, it's about friggin' time, I tell you. I just been having a bad series so far. So it's nice to finally finish.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you're a guy that I've seen doing plenty of practice, and plenty active in our chat. So you're a guy that I've been saying, well, after a while, once he figures it out and he gets the track and he gets all of his technical stuff figured out, he's going to be an absolute force. And you were tonight. I mean, first of all, you ran our quickest qualifying time in qualifying, sent yourself to the feature, didn't even need to run at our heats, and then, well, until Logan was able to get you probably lap 25 in that race, you kind of held down the lead pretty solidly. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, Paxa was able to get you and just barely held you off for the win. What was kind of your strategy in that last few laps? I know you were sending some aggressive moves. How are you changing your line and trying to set up for a pass for the win? Maybe the last 10 laps of our race there.
I don't know. I was just trying to go. I knew the high line wouldn't work, so I was trying the bottom and trying the middle, but it was just I was just pretty much switching from lap to lap just to see if where I can gain, and it seemed like I was gaining on him a little at a time, but just not.
Well, it was close for sure. I mean, less than half a second at the end there. So I thought you might get him. You got underneath him a few times there, but really in the entire race as a whole, I mean, or the entire session as a whole, I mean, you were quick in qualifying, as mentioned before. Obviously, starting on pole there, and quick in your race. I'd say at parts you were even quicker than Logan, just running on your own. So, was there anything specific as you practiced this week in preparation for tonight that you noticed that gave you such pace, or kind of what was your strategy corner by corner? Any specific lines you thought were better? Anything you noticed about kind of the changing dirt conditions? Just what was it you figured out in all your practice attempts?
Well, at the beginning of the race, I really liked the load line. It had a lot of grip. If you just let off the gas and kind of ease it in there, you can get some good exit. But once the track slicks up, it's a little harder to pick where you want to.
Right, and it was a big thing. It was a big dynamic all race. Is really, I mean, I talked to Michael. I know I'm going to talk to guys after the race that are all going to have their different opinions on the quickest lines, but yeah, it looked like everybody, once they were able to kind of get in a groove and drive up there enough times, you kind of had to commit to starting to build out a path there up top for yourself. And well, once guys did it, it appeared to work for them. I mean, Paxos kind of started to move up a little bit further up the track earlier than everybody else did. So overall, it was a very dynamically changing race, and overall, it was a really entertaining one as well. So congrats on just running quick all day and in that battle for Paxa, one of the most, I think, probably the most interesting final battle we've had all season. So, well, as we look forward to Saturday, we have our All-Star race at Charlotte there to determine the final race of the year, as will be picked by the winner. How are you feeling for that? I mean, it's Xfinity at Charlotte. It's the older Xfinity car. So we head back to an oval for the first time since round one. So how are you feeling going forward, and what do you think you're going to need to work on before that race there?
Well, I'm not too bad at Charlotte, but I've never actually driven the Xfinity series car, so yeah, we'll see. I'll do a little bit of practicing and see what tire wear is and all that kind.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I'm not really an Xfinity guy either, but yeah, from what I've been told by anybody who's practiced all week, it's pretty easy for anybody to pick up. And based on the way we're thinking of doing qualifying, where it's reverse order of championship position, I think you just moved yourself back in the field a few spots tonight because, well, with a second place position, I'd imagine you're going to be up to maybe 9th or 10th in the points, certainly top 10 if I had to guess. So, well, congrats, Renee. Great race tonight. And it's a good sign going. Sorry?
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, no problem. But it's a very good sign momentum-wise moving forward. So is there anybody you want to thank or give a shout-out to tonight before we head on to our race winner?
I'll thank my wife for actually letting me play video games.
That's probably a very solid shout-out, and one that if you hadn't done could have been catastrophic. So, well, congrats, Renee. Good job tonight, and I look forward to, I assume I'm going to talk to you, well, more times than this season. So have a good rest of your night.
Thank you very much.
And that is Renee Hart, tonight's second place finisher. But, well, I feel like I've been in this. Oh, sorry about that. We completely lost our feed for a moment. But I feel like I've been in this position before as your race winner tonight, Logan Paxa. First of all, Logan, congratulations. And how are you doing tonight? How are you feeling after your third consecutive race win of the season?
I feel pretty good. That was a really tough race, but really fun at the same time. Had a great fight with Renee, and qualifying didn't go well, but the races were super fun. It was just a great time.
Well, first of all, you were the first guy I've had to talk to in these interviews that did actually run in the heat races because Michael and Renee ran top two in qualifying, hence got the bye to the feature. But was there any major change you noticed from the heat race to the feature, maybe in terms of your line, or maybe the time of day was having an effect on the track at all?
Yeah, so the track condition is really cool in dirt because usually when you're racing on asphalt, the more rubber that is put on the track, the faster the track is. But in dirt, the more people run on the same line, the actually slippier it gets. So definitely the final was definitely a lot slippier than the heat races. So just adjusting to that was a big part of just trying to stay consistent, trying to do the best you can.
Right, and do the best you can. You certainly did. As well, this is, I believe, your third different discipline you've won in all year. You won it. You won at a dedicated road course at Laguna Seca, and then you won at Roval last week, and now you've won at a dirt oval. But well, you were quick all day, and yeah, I mean, maybe just I'll quickly ask what did go wrong qualifying there? Because you seem to have the solo pace quicker than anybody else in the field. But was there something you just messed up there in qualifying? Maybe caught the wall, or what went on there?
Yeah, it seemed that at the start of qualifying, I just out of the open just had like a lot of nerves. So the first couple laps where the track was actually at its best, I kind of just forgot about, my marks, where I was supposed to be getting on the gas, where I was supposed to be turning in, and just like the kind of excitement and nervousness, it allowed me to kind of slip up a little bit. And then towards the end of the session, I started to like just hone my mind and get in some good laps. But I definitely could have gone faster just because of how the track changes. But yeah, getting the fast laps in quickly at the start was definitely something that you had to do if you wanted to qualify up front.
Well, in the end, it looked like you didn't need to. You gave us a very entertaining first heat, and then you went on to win the race. So, congratulations, Logan. And I'll just ask quickly before we head out for tonight's broadcast. We just announced kind of the all-star race format we're doing for Saturday there at Charlotte Motor Speedway, where the winner picks the final round of the season. How you feeling for that? Our first kind of mid-range or mid-sized oval, I should say, the year, and our first and only race in any NASCAR Cup car in the Xfinity car. So, how does your kind of past skill set influence how well you think you'll do on Saturday, and just how you feeling going into it?
Um, Excited. Obviously, NASCAR always makes great racing. Everyone's usually very close together. You always have to be alert at all times to do well. So I'm extremely excited for that. I haven't raced much NASCAR before, but I'll try my best definitely to get up to speed.
Well, making my first and only race debut of the season, I'm looking very forward to racing it because every time I see you at a track, I feel like I'm pretty good at it. I'm like, damn, I wish I was out there and battling with them. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And is there anybody you want to give a shout out to or thank for tonight's race? I feel like I say this a lot to you, but well, you just gotta stop winning if you don't want to hear it. So, well, congrats, Logan. Is there anybody you want to thank?
I want to thank my family because I think I do know a lot of them watch this. So yeah, big shout out to them. Obviously, they give me tons of support, and thanks to you, man, for putting this all together. It's honestly been great. I've had so much fun, and all the guys that came out to race give me great competition. Yeah, just thanks for making this happen.
Oh, well, hey, no problem, man. I mean, I've had a great time trying to set everything up, and I know occasionally, at least on my end for the broadcast, I have technical difficulties, and sometimes the races don't go together as planned. I know today we didn't have a consolation race at all because, according to Michael, nobody that was supposed to be in it showed up. So occasionally we have little problems with the broadcast like that. But again, like I always say, I love giving guys the opportunity to, if they can't race on the karting track, to come out here and we'll do what they love just on iRacing. So just to be able to race against the people they're used to. But I hear that, well, the conditions in the outside world are starting to maybe get a little bit better day by day. So hopefully it won't be too much longer before we're out in the karting track. But yeah, hopefully we're able to kind of continue this series after that. And well, hopefully when the racing season starts, it isn't the last time I see you out at one of these. So congrats, Logan. I look forward to, I'm sure, talking to you going forward, and maybe even as soon as Saturday, where I finally get to race against you for the first time. So congrats, Logan. Have a good rest of your night.
Thanks, thanks, man. You too.
And with that, we are finished our interviews for the night. So as we wrap up tonight's broadcast, let me just pull our info out of there and throw up our results for tonight's race. So unfortunately, only your feature results are going to fit there. I should have updated the graphic before I put it up. Not the point. So as we move forward, I will give you guys all the details for our feature race, or sorry, not our feature race, our All-Star race on Saturday first. So our All-Star race will be quite fittingly at the same track NASCAR does their All-Star race, Charlotte Motor Speedway. It will be on Saturday at 8 o'clock, so the same time as a normal Saturday broadcast for this series. For those of you curious about the schedule, we're moving every race that would normally happen this season back to whatever the next normal race date would be. So as of right now, the championship will still happen every Thursday at 7:30 and every Saturday at 8 p.m. And that'll remain the same. It's just we're going to push what normally would have been Okayama on Saturday in the MX5 as our 5th round of the season back to next Thursday, so a week today. And then on Saturday will be our All-Star race at Charlotte. So a few details about that. It'll be a 200-mile race, so our second longest of the year. It'll be a pretty lengthy race for sure. But that will include every driver in the series and some of the ones that are registered but just haven't happened to make it out to a race. I'll try to do my very best to convince them to come out. So it should be a very big field, ideally bigger than any race we've done this year. And I will be making my debut for the first time. I will be running in that race as well. I've wanted to run a race in this series all season against the guys that I run against at the track, but I haven't been able to here. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Now, you may wonder if I'm in the race, how is this broadcast going to be set up? Now, I will say, because it is an unofficial race, I will continue to do the rest of the season as normally broadcasted as usual, like just in the same style as this. But on Saturday, we're going to kind of do it like a Twitch live stream format. So it'll still be on YouTube Live. It'll still go up at the same time. I'll put the link up probably, maybe not tonight, but first thing tomorrow. You'll see it on the YouTube page. So I promise you guys it'll be a very entertaining race. 134 laps at Charlotte in the Xfinity car. Fixed setup once again. Should be close racing. The starting grid, as I mentioned earlier in tonight's broadcast, will be the inverse of our point standings after tonight's race. So I'll throw up our points heading into tonight's race for now, and then before that broadcast or before the race goes live on Saturday, I'll put up the new points. But yeah, so the furthest back in the points will start on pole, go all the way to the inverse. Logan Paxo, I'm sure, who will still be your points leader, will start in I believe 19th position, and then starting in 20th round at the field will be myself. So for the broadcast, it will not be a traditional broadcast like this. Instead, I will have all of our basic broadcasts up, but you will instead spend the race on board with me. So you're going to kind of get the experience of an entire race in the series yourself, racing, seeing the guys, maybe your favorites, driving around, I guess me, in the case of that. So I definitely have experience at Charlotte, so I think I'll be very competitive, and I hope I can go for a win there and try to bring the fans' broadcast riding on board car to the win. But it should be pretty fun. I will still be talking in a broadcast form like this. Anybody who's ever sat in the same room as me playing iRacing knows I am constantly talking to anybody that'll listen during the race. So you'll get insight into kind of the mind of a driver in that. And I think it'll be fun for some guys that don't, or some people out there that don't normally watch iRacing in this form or don't race themselves. And overall, I think it should be a very fun race, and I look forward to commentating it. We'll still have interviews and everything, and I'm sure I'll put together, if I win the race, I'll have somebody interview me. But anybody that's watched any of the NASCAR iRacing series races, I'll kind of be the Clint Boyer of the broadcast. Except, as I made the joke early in our Facebook Messenger group, I'll actually make an attempt to win, unlike poor Clint Boyer, who. Well, I'm going too much into NASCAR. So for now, well, thank you guys for watching tonight. Again, I'll put up our point standings and then our results momentarily. But I know we kind of missed out in our consolation race, and this is our shortest broadcast by far. But again, I had a pretty fun time tonight. Our first time and our only time dirt oval racing this year. So hopefully it was a different, kind of a nice flavor change in terms of discipline for all of you out there. And yeah, I look forward to kind of switching it up on Saturday and racing there. And man, I just can't get across how excited I am to race these guys. So hopefully all of you guys enjoy that broadcast on Saturday. Now, I will say our outro card will have the wrong race date. It'll show up as Okayama on Saturday. Just ignore that. It won't be. It'll be the All-Star race at Charlotte. And then again, Okayama in the MX5, round 5 of the Karts Computers iRacing Series will move back to a week today at the same time, 7:30. So, yes, let me just throw up our point standings going into tonight's race. So this was previously, before tonight's race kind of messed all this around. I know Todd Ricard in the 9th position didn't, or 9th in the standings going in, he didn't race tonight, so that'll kind of hurt his point standings. But as I mentioned a few times this season, we do have one drop race per driver. So if you happen to miss a race, every driver gets one of their first 9 races of the season wiped in terms of points, so it won't count. So, if that's the only race Ricard misses all season, well, his season isn't done by any means. So, a few notables that'll move up in the points today. Rene Hart finishing second. He'll fly way up the point sheet based on that very close to a win. And, well, he got the pole as well, so bonus points for him. But yeah, so you see Logan Paxa with a very solid lead back to McEachern there in second. 36 seconds, no small margin by any means. Then after that, it's 39 points back to Krobach, 43 back to Gallagher, 43 back to Clark. So those kind of second to fifth place position, they got a very good battle going forward this season. I'm sure Devin Crosby had a good race as well, so I'm sure he'll move up into that group as well. Then after that, Brian Ellis, Justin Lewick, Todd Ricard, Marco Felice rounding out your top 10 points heading into tonight. Jordan West, Freddie Esposito. I know their names may be hung on the scoring sheet, but after that, Rich Foligno, Marshall Crocker Sr., Logan Ferguson, Jean Guerra, Rene Hart, and Arnel Tabang rounding out your points. So, as I'll mention quickly again, going into our All-Star race, if the All-Star race were to start with these points intact, which they won't be going into Saturday, they will be updated tomorrow. But Arnel Tabang and Rene Hart would start on the front row, and then John Guerra, Ferguson after him, so forth. You get like kind of the inverse idea of the grade. So that was your point standings into tonight. Again, they will be put up before the race. Whoops, sorry, it's gone wrong. Okay, and we're back. Sorry about that. Again, ladies and gentlemen, some of our graphics kind of got messed up tonight, and they will need to be reset before Saturday. But one more time through our final results, you see Logan Pax, tonight's race winner, third time in a row. I know he's got quite the fan base, so they will once again go home happy, stay at home happy. Stay at home, everybody. And then Rene Hart, Michael Krobach rounding out your top 3. Marco Felice, Devin Crosby rounding out your top 5. Josh Gallagher, Logan Ferguson, and Jordan West in your top 8. And Arnel Tabang and Justin Lewick unfortunately got sent out of the race early for each of them, but they will round out your top 10 in tonight's feature race. So, well, thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. Our shortest broadcast of the season by far, and definitely a few incidents technically in terms of race setup tonight, but I had a good time, and I hope all of you out there did too. I didn't get as much of a chance to read the chat because the races were kind of flying through one by one here, and not nearly as many long caution breaks. So, well, we'll hope that a week from today, everything will be a little bit more polished today. We're going to go back to MX5 at Okayama, which will be very similar to our second race of the season. So those of you that enjoyed that race in terms of kind of the changing scenery and how interesting of a track Laguna Seca is, well, hopefully you'll enjoy Okayama as well. So, well, I hope everybody tunes in for our All-Star race on Saturday and gets a chance to ride along board with me as part of the race, and should be a good time. I'm really looking forward to it. So I hope I see you all out there, and even if maybe you won't be able to catch up to either of your favorite Logans in a traditional broadcast format, well, it should be good. I think it'll be good for any fan of any drivers. So, well, thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for watching tonight and taking part of your Thursday night to come along and check in on your favorite drivers here in the Karts to Computers iRacing series. And, well, we head into round 5 next week in our All-Star race on Saturday. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. Have a good rest of your night, and I will see you all Saturday. Knock on wood. See you guys.